Okay, let's talk about technology and AI. New camera angle, there's pros and cons, but that's not what we're going to talk about in this video, although it is fun to rant about how difficult it is to white balance a room that is red. But instead we're going to talk about AI. So, uh, those of you who know, I've worked in retail for the better part of a decade. I might be retired now, but I have a lot of experience, and for fun, I tried to teach a large language model to basically do my job, to see if it was possible, at least on paper, for an AI to do that. And what I discovered is that surprisingly, ChatGPT at least, and some more sophisticated medium to large scale models can do this. But uh, what does that mean? That means, yes, I can hit a button or I can say generate a profile and it can create from whole cloth a random customer with information like age, sex, height, weight, ethnicity, favorite color, um, if they have any piercings or tattoos, Tanner stage, breast topography, tissue density, level of projection. All of these are things that it can kind of just, boom, randomly. Um, and it can do that pretty well, and it does that in such a way that obviously one of these values is not going to contradict another. Like you're not going to have someone who is uh, 25 years old, female, 5'8" to 5'12", let's say, and it's not going to say that she's a 30B, right? It's going to say that she's either a 34 or a 36 and between a B or something else, right? Like it understands realistically how all of these things in this profile interact, and it can create realistic profiles. That's step one. Step two was, can it reliably pair a product solution insofar as it understands the product solution, which it doesn't completely. It does not have an access to, it can't surf the web, it can't see a whole catalog of like Target or Walmart or Kohl's or Victoria's Secret for that matter, right? It can't see that. Um, so it has this very limited data set, but in that limited data set, it understands that uh, certain products are going to go with certain customers. It knows that someone who is athletic and is coming into a store wearing a ponytail and leggings and sneakers, running shoes, it knows realistically, okay, that person is probably shopping for a sports bra, and it understands how to pair the right sports bra with that customer based on their breast tissue shape and topography with, I'll say, like 75% reliability and accuracy, um, which is great. Which is great. And up until very recently, I thought that was the capacity of it, right? Because you go beyond that and you go into things like texture and pattern and the tensile strength of tensile, whatever, the strength of the fabric, and you run into issues where it doesn't really know what it looks like on the customer, and it doesn't really understand what the product is outside the context in which it's been trained to understand it. And it also doesn't really have the ability to visualize certain fit issues. Like you can teach it what gapping in the top of a cup looks like. You can teach it what it looks like to have uh, the gusset of a panty dig into somebody's thighs, or if their genitalia is too projected, you can explain, okay, well, this isn't going to work because there's going to be too much horizontal tension on the surface of the fabric. Like you can teach it these things, but uh, it doesn't intuit or understand those outside of the narrow context in which you're prompting it. So it can't, for example, say, generate a profile for a customer, encounter a problem with the customer in terms of a fit issue, and solve that without help. It can't do that without the human or the prompter telling it, okay, because of this, do this in each individual situation. I thought that was the hard limit. And then like a day ago, depending on when you're watching this, CES is going on. NVIDIA announced some new technology that, while what they were showcasing was largely architectural and visual, I quickly realized that the rate at which this technology is progressing is far faster than anything I could have hoped, dreamed, or anticipated. We could very well, in the next 2 years, have a AI, an LLM with capacity for visual interpretation and generation that is capable of fully visualizing in intricate detail the anatomy of a hypothetical client or customer and the exact proportions and behavior of the physics of a product solution in any industry for that client in real time. Like it'll be able to know that it'll be able to know that because one boob is slightly heavier, you would need to tighten or loosen one of the straps. Like it's going to know things like that, which is things that like most of the people that work in this industry don't know. You know, like these are things that I have to teach other people. And now just looking at what NVIDIA is doing, I think there's a very real chance that we'll have some kind of crazy, hyper realistic, hyper specific AI that fashion industries, even other industries, right, are going to use and say, all right, here's how we test our product before we even mess with people, before we even go to the point where we're paying models to try it on and we're paying people to like, try it out and give feedback. Let's see what it looks like on a person that's not really a person. And that's very exciting and also terrifying, because I think once we reach that point where we're able to do that, the ethical implications of AI become far more frightening, because we already have situations where, the only proof you have that you didn't rob that bank is that you have a few extra fingers in the security footage, right? Like, we're already there, and that's scary and gross and icky and weird and like unpleasant. But once we reach the level of specificity and detail where an AI can tell you if a bra is fitting or not and be correct and be conversant in why it's correct, at that point, the floodgates are open. Anything's possible. And that's going to change political discourse. It already has. That's going to change education. That's going to change everything. The applications for something like that are limitless, which is why I'm very happy I invested so much money in NVIDIA several splits ago. And also another reason why I'm able to comfortably retire. But just something to think about. The future is exciting, but it's also scary.